You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean,
you're at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
What is up, everybody? We are live. What a crazy day. Just like all of them have been over the last 3.5 weeks now. We are live here at 10 o'clock Friday night. Meant to get this going a little bit earlier, but the day got a little bit wild. The news kept pouring in, so let's get right after it. How's everybody doing on this Friday night? So, first and foremost, a story that's near and dear to the hearts of valuetainment, especially with what we've been up to the last week. Truth Social is suing the Brazilian judge, Alexandre de Moraes. I don't know how much I butchered that, but it is all good. So let's check this out. Trump's social media company sues Brazilian judge citing his own executive orders. All right, so what is this all about? Trump Media and Rumble filed a lawsuit alleging censorship over conservative influencers in Brazil. President Donald Trump is suing a Brazilian Supreme Court justice in the United States, alleging he violated the First Amendment by issuing orders that suspended certain conservative social media accounts. The lawsuit filed by Trump Media, which is the parent company of the president of Truth Social website and the conservative video platform Rumble, cites an unnamed political dissident A, who the lawsuit says is a well-known Brazilian commentator based in the U.S. whose account was suspended by Brazilian Supreme Federal Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. The gag order, as issued, censor legitimate political discourse in the United States, undermining fundamental constitutional protections enshrined in the First Amendment. Lawyers for the companies argued the lawsuit, which filed in the District Court of the Middle District of Florida. Moraes has clashed repeatedly with former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, an ally of Trump. The lawyers for Trump's organization cite an executive order signed by Trump that imposed sanctions on the International Criminal Court that, according to the lawsuit, rejects foreign judicial attempts to impose their legal standards extraterritorially by coercing Rumble into appointing Brazilian attorneys and threatening punitive actions if it does not comply. Justice Moraes' actions mirror the type of extraterritorial conduct condemned by the EO, the lawyers argue. Moraes has ordered numerous social media accounts to be suspended in Brazil for spreading what he deems hate speech. At one point, temporarily halting the entire X platform, which is owned by Elon Musk, one of the president's most powerful advisors. And this is from Politico, by the way, in case you feel a little tilt in it. He has been fiercely critical of the tech companies more broadly. In Brazil, the companies will only continue to operate if they respect Brazilian legislation, which is tyranny, by the way. Regardless of the rant on big tech managers, Moraes said at an event in January, Moraes is facing another decision at home that is important to Trump, whether to order the arrest of Bolsonaro, who has been charged with attempting a coup to stay in power following his 2022 election loss, which, by the way, if you did not watch the show last night, if you've not been keeping up with the events of what valuetainment's doing, we were in Brazil earlier this week interviewing former president, hopefully future president Jair Bolsonaro. Amazing guy, right? His heart's in the right place. He's just like a lot like Trump. It's a very similar situation. The people love him. He can't even go outside without getting freaking mobbed by people who just love the guy. He's like a true hero in the community. And like an hour after we finished this interview, this like a full media blitz comes out saying that he tried to poison the current sitting president Lula, which is, it's not a new story. They've been throwing around these headlines like in a light way the past couple of weeks, but they did a full-on media blitz like as we were taking off from the airport in Brazil. Anyway, Bolsonaro has long railed against Moraes' efforts, likening it to an attempt to censor right-wing voices in Brazil. He told the New York Times last month that he was delighted that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg planned to work with Trump to limit foreign involvement in the U.S. social media sites. The lawsuit also acknowledges that there is no legal census as to whether Moraes' gag order can be enforced in Florida or anywhere else in America. By filing the lawsuit, the companies hope the courts declare Moraes' orders are unenforceable and non-recognizable. Justice Moraes' extraterritorial demands, this is a quote, Justice Moraes' extraterritorial demands inflict immediate and irreparable harm on Rumble and TMTG Truth Media by undermining lawful American political discourse, a right central to free speech under U.S. principles, the lawyers argue. So we got that. By the way, funny thing, Brazil's constitution says the citizens have a right to free speech, but of course, just like every other country except the United States, it's not a blanket right to free speech. They make sure to say that hate speech is not tolerated, which that's basically saying you don't have free speech, because under the right political conditions, anything can be deemed hate speech, right? So with that said, it does not stop there. There was I guess what you'd call a clapback. So Brazil's top justice orders X to pay $1.4 million for non-compliance. How about that? Look at this. Look at this. All within the same few days. This is the day after Brazil's top court justice orders X to pay $1.4 million for fine for non-compliance. Which, by the way, you might remember Elon Musk and this creepy guy Moraes, who's on the thumbnail, or the creepy bald guy. They were going back and forth a few months ago. They wanted to ban X in Brazil, and they made Musk agree to having a legal representative in Brazil for X to censor certain content, to do a whole bunch of things that made it palatable for them to allow X to be platformed in Brazil. So from AP News, Brazil Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes ordered X to pay 8.1 Brazilian reais, $1.4 million in fines for failing to comply with judicial orders according to a judicial ruling. The ruling, signed on Wednesday and made public by the court on Thursday, said that social media platform refused to provide registration data for a profile attributed to Alan dos Santos, an ally of former President Trump, Jair Bolsonaro, accused of spreading falsehoods. In July 2024, de Moraes ordered both X and Meta to block and ban the account and provide the data. X said it had blocked the account but could not deliver the request information, arguing that its operators didn't collect it and that the user had no technical connection point with Brazil. De Moraes rejected the argument and in early August imposed a daily fine of 100,000 Brazilian reals, or $17,500, if the social media platform failed to provide the data. By October, the total fine for noncompliance had reached 8.1 million Brazilian reals, which is 1.4 million. Let's see. Oh, I knew
That's
I heard
a lot
some.
of money, Brandon.
There he is. There he is. I was going to tell you guys, but I did not want to make a false promise. Humberto, what is up? Do you want to tell the people what you're doing?
Get them all hyped up.
What's up? Where you at right now? Is it classified?
It is classified for the time being, but I'm doing a few things.
Okay, some things and some stuff. All right, so we just started. I was just telling the good people how in the past 2 days, both Trump's social media company sued the creepy Brazilian judge de Moraes because he was trying to make extraterritorial proclamations that stopped people in the U.S. from doing certain things with social media, and then he clapped back by ordering X to pay 1.4 million for noncompliance. So, Brazil's near and dear to our hearts. We just came from there a few days ago, and this guy's a creep. But it seems like Trump is kind of coming through lightly at first and helping out Bolsonaro the way that Bolsonaro was asking Trump to help him out. What do you think about this so far? How's this going to develop?
We need to check out the track record. This guy, he made Elon Musk, pull back on what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, do you blame Musk for what he did? I mean, he made a few what do you call it? He made a few sacrifices, I guess.
Executive decisions, yeah.
Yeah, he
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't blame him at all. He did what he had to do to take care of his people, because people come first. But at the same time, if you see a scoreboard, that's an L.
Well, I mean, I guess between keeping the platform operating in Brazil and just not having it operate, like he had to do what he did at the time, but that was under Biden, and now I think he could be a little bit more bold under Trump. But we gotta start thinking about what Trump could do to make the Brazilian government uncomfortable. Like they already started talking about tariffs before any of this popped off. But I've been saying like there's no way in my mind that it's a coincidence that like 1 hour after we left that freaking place that there was just a media blitz of the stuff against Bolsonaro where they're saying he tried to poison the current president. Like that was a story we talked about. That was a story that already existed before we went there. Then like as our freaking flight's taking off the ground, there's just a full-on CIA style media blitz of like Bolsonaro poisoning, Bolsonaro poisoning.
Did you tell them what happened before that?
I think so, but which part?
Magically cancel?
Oh yeah, I did start talking about our flight is supposed to be at 3 a.m. gets pushed to 9 a.m. and God bless our boy Estrus and Mateo. Like they stood at the freaking counter for 6 or 7 hours straight, with the most confused looking airport attendants I've ever seen in my life. Like remember when we walked up, they were looking at the faces on the airport attendants. You got one guy on his phone, like in his hand on his head. The other guy just like leaning over the computer, looking at it. I'm like, wow, this is like a meme of just people not knowing what the hell is happening. And then everybody else in the airport just breezing through. So yeah, I thought they were straight trying to like detain us there.
I thought for a minute, we went there, the flight was canceled. We got notified like an hour before or less, like 45 minutes before. Very weird.
Yeah.
So I was ready to go to Brazilian jail. Can you imagine, Brandon?
I know you showed me the pictures. Brazilian jail does not look fun. Let's see what this thing looks like. Brazilian jail. Well, I asked Pat. Oh my God! Look at this. That looks so bad.
Oh,
it looks like the
the
1800s. Is that underwear?
Oh yeah, that's when they're done with you, they can hang your underwear outside.
like they put it up like a trophy.
Yeah, I don't even know. Never been to Brazilian jail.
Oh man, they're all just piled up on each other in there. Jesus. But here's the thing.
Bad. It's real bad.
I told Pat though, I would not have felt comfortable going if Biden was still president, but the fact that Trump is president, it gave me all the comfort in the world.
1000%.
Right?
Like the only reason we thought about it is because Trump was there.
Yeah. No, Biden would let us rot for the rest of our lives if anything happened to us. They probably would have even been happy about it.
Oh, he will clap. No, not at all. Like, you think they would have done anything to get us out?
Biden?
No, it would have been probably.
Look what he had to do to get Brittany Griner out.
Oh man!
And
it took him like a year.
yeah, no urgency. But I mean, a part of me almost was curious to see what would happen, what Trump would do if they dared to disrespect us like that and put us in jail. What can you imagine?
That would have been national news. That would have been national news.
He would have gotten on and said the most savage thing ever and probably got us out in 90 minutes.
All right, so back to the 1.4 million fine.
Yes.
And,
this guy's got some audacity, this guy Morales. So I don't know. I guess the two ways this could play out is Musk plays ball or he goes hard and gets defiant, and then maybe they try to block X in Brazil. But I stumbled upon
Brandon.
What?
They can't block it anymore.
Why?
Because you have Starlink.
Good point. That's a good point.
Are they gonna shoot? I don't know, the satellites out of the sky. What are they gonna do about it?
I don't think they have the technology to do that at this point.
Because before, when internet was wired, they can ban it. But now that the internet is in satellites going around space, they can't do anything about it.
Oh, that's a great point. What a freaking
And
great invention.
and listen, dude, the thing is, Elon is too smart. He's playing 4D chess. If you remember, I think it was last year, there was a big flood in Brazil.
Yes,
You remember this?
I do.
Guess what
All right.
Elon Musk did? And you can look it up. He
What do you do?
donated, I don't know how many Starlink dishes during the flood.
Starlink what? Dishes? Yeah, during the flood to Brazil.
Is
Right.
it called a dish? I don't know what it's called. Is it a modem? What is it?
Is
It's
it a
like
plate?
a dish.
Let's see. What does this thing look like?
It looks
Satellite?
like a satellite.
Maybe Starlink satellite? But that's not what
Yeah.
the person receives something like this. You seen what I'm showing?
Yeah. He donated a bunch of those during the
Yeah,
flood. So they're already inside the country. And if they're gonna charge him 1.4 million to start with, because that's probably the first fine, it'd be cheaper and easier for him to just give free Starlink to anyone that has the device.
Smuggle them in there.
Yeah,
Let's see.
you can
Ask
airdrop
ChatGPT.
them.
Can people in Brazil use Starlink to access X if it gets banned in the country? Man, I gotta show you the most savage Trump clip after this.
Oh, I saw it.
Did you
We haven't-
with the governor? So this is
with
saying
the government that. Then
he's out.
that was savage. That was savage. And then, do you see the Germany one?
With Trump?
Yeah.
No. What do you do?
I don't want to spoil it. Let's watch it. The governor one. It was the governor from, right?
Yeah, the FD. All right, here. Let me read this quick, and then we'll jump on
I'm
that.
talking about the clip you were talking about. All right.
Okay. All right. So, can people in Brazil use Starlink? Oh, what the fuck? I put star. That's funny. Can people in Brazil use
is funny.
Starlink to access X if it gets banned in the country? That is the question. Let's see. ChatGPT. The user asking whether people in Brazil can use Starlink to access X if it gets banned. Come on, give me the answer. Under Brazil's current court order, Starlink is now blocking access to X in the country, huh? Even though satellite internet might seem like a way to bypass local ISP control, Starlink is legally required to comply with the Brazilians' court orders. Are they, though? Like, who's going to enforce that? In recent reports, the company announced. Yeah. The company announced that despite initial resistance, it has reversed its position, is now cutting off access to X for its Brazilian consumers. Oh, is this from today?
Oh, wow.
No, that was from September.
Now, Brandon,
What's up?
This right here, it's already Starlink enabled.
Your phone?
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we were on the plane. This is the first time I ever saw this on the plane the other day. I went to go do something with the phone, and it said would you like to connect to satellite? So that was Starlink.
Yeah.
In the plane, the Starlink, you're able to connect to Starlink.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Now iPhones. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's great.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Brandon, this is gonna be a game of chicken. Elon Musk is gonna push. De Moraes is gonna push, and see who will push harder. We thought that Elon didn't have any moves, but he has 3 or 4 more moves, depending how hard he wants to go.
Yeah, and I mean, now that he has the full force of the U.S. government at his back, I think I put my money on Elon having more leverage here. All right, so speaking of the full force of the U.S. federal government, it's a fun thing to know that you have at your back when they're on your side of things. So this is I guess you say the Maine governor being pro men playing women's sports, and this is what Trump had to say about that. This is at a meeting where he's addressing all 50 governors.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it? We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. The NCAA.
Oh my God.
Immediately,
I love when he does
the
the old like double whammy where he like simultaneously like insults you and compliments himself in the like same time in one swift motion. Oh my God. And that's just a small part of what he did today. I got this other one here.
No, that it's not a double whammy, it's a double down. Because he goes like have a good life. It's just brilliant. Find the one about Germany. That was really funny as well.
So what do I type in? Trump Germany?
Yeah, Trump Germany. You're gonna find it immediately. It's from the same conference.
Big week for Germany this week, by the way. Let's see.
It's tomorrow, Brandon. It's tomorrow. We should cover it live. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, if you're in Germany, vote for the AFD.
Germany has elections on Sunday. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to happen in the elections on Sunday?
Who has elections?
Germany.
Oh, Germany. I wish them luck. We got our own problem.
That's it.
He said, I thought he was going to like say something encouraging. He's like, who has elections?
Yeah, we have our own problems. That's the thing that people don't get.
Oh yeah, like they're acting like everything's fixed already for us, but this
dude, it's gonna take 4 years or more or 6.
Oh, it's gonna take like 12 to 20 years. This looks good, but before we play this, you want to explain the implications of these Germany elections because I know it's near and dear to your heart.
All right. This election cycle could make or break Germany. Like it's over. They don't have another chance to get Germany back together. Today, or it was yesterday, there was another stabbing. We had a guy run over a car last week, and they've been having a huge influx of some people from a certain religion that they're not really friendly. And I was checking social media today. Even women that they usually vote against their interest all the time, they're over it. They're over it. They can't go out in the street. They can't do their thing. So I don't know. Like I think I want to see what happens, and then we can go more in depth tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah. Well, they have this weird thing where they do multiple rounds of voting. It's like the one where the top two have a second election, and then what?
Yeah.
Or is it ranked choice voting too?
It's called a runoff election.
Oh, this is actually looking good. Look at this. So in the past 2 months, AFD's gone from 18% to 21%. Then the one that's leading right now has gone from 32 to 30. So I mean, I don't know, it's heading in the right direction. Do you know which two? What's up?
Huh? The only two decent parties there is the SPD and the AFD.
So they have to combine.
They are pretty aligned. Like the SPD is more like old school Republican, not really rhinos, but more in that sense. And then the AFD is based.
So did the AFD like come out of nowhere, or is this a thing that's been around for a long time?
No, they've been around for a little bit, but very minimal. Like if you see how many parties they have there, all right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, and you have it's complicated because it's not like our democracy. Like it's different.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have some crazy parties there. Like the Greens are crazy.
Oh, dude, you know what's funny about the Germany and green stuff is that like all the German propaganda for green energy came from Russia. You ever hear about you know Gerhard Schroeder? the chancellor of Germany from like 2001?
I can't recall.
So real quick before we play this dude Gerhard Schroeder from Germany, he he becomes president of Russia's oil company. What is it called? Gerhard Schroeder. So this dude, like he pretty much makes a deal with Putin where he starts like basically detaching their like oil infrastructure, like removing all their oil infrastructure, making them completely dependent on Russia's energy. And then this dude gets a position as like the president of the freaking Russia's biggest oil company. Where the hell is it?
Oh wow, how convenient.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where is that shit so that you guys don't think I'm crazy here. Relations with Russia. On his first official trip to Russia in late 1998, Schroeder suggests that Germany was not likely to come up with more aid for the country, blah, blah, blah. Putin, okay. His last days in office, he signed a deal between Germany and Russia, state-owned Gazprom, to build Nord Stream 1 before leaving office and almost immediately joining the pipeline company's board after. So he signs a deal to allow Russia to build their pipeline through Germany to make them completely dependent on Russia's oil, then becomes a fucking board member of the company. Like right after he gets out of office.
Rich.
Madness.
That is rich, Brandon. That is madness. And Germany, they have the smartest people, the best engineers. They should have gone nuclear years ago. They actually, am I wrong that I think it was France and Germany, they dismantled some nuclear plants that were already working?
Yeah, look, so this is another thing. Schroeder, in his first term, Schroeder government decided to phase out nuclear power and fund renewable energies.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you could thank this guy for all like, remember when the Nord Stream pipeline first got bombed and then like in America gas prices went up like pretty substantially, like I think, I don't know, what was it, maybe like single digit percentages, like 7 to 10%, but in Germany I'm pretty sure it went up like 20 to 60% at a certain point in time.
That's what I'm saying, Brandon. I mean, there's some countries that electric cars will never make sense, like the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But in some other countries, going nuclear and electric is a matter of national security, Brandon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you have no access to oil, no access to fossil fuels, and you want to be energy independent, you gotta go nuclear. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like it's ridiculous not to. I think the only reason that people don't want to go nuclear is because it's too cheap and effective, because it would like destabilize like everything that has to do with oil pretty quickly. Like, you know, Finland puts a nuclear reactor on and the energy prices just drop 76% overnight. So imagine that across the world. So
I've been reading a lot about it.
Nuclear?
Oh yeah, it's the way to go. Have you been reading about thorium reactors?
Thorium reactors? No.
Oh,
it's wild.
That's the next generation. Oh, it's wild, Brandon. They're cheaper to make, easier to maintain, safer, faster to build, and the race right now, the nuclear race, Brandon, is to see who can have the first functional thorium reactor in the world. Well, you know who's winning?
America?
China.
No.
China.
Come
China's
on.
winning the race. Yeah, China's winning the race by far. America, they haven't done anything on nuclear energy for years, Brandon. Like,
I know there's a chart that shows that.
Even Google, all right? They have, Brandon, they have all the money in the world. They have all the lobbyists in the world. They own everything. They can get the government to approve a nuclear plan for the data centers.
Dude, look at this. So tell me this isn't the most stupid chart you've ever seen in your life. I know you've seen this before, but like for
yeah, I love the
like
chart.
That's the amount of nuclear reactors we built. Like, explain that to me. Anybody in the world, explain that to me in like a way where it sounds rational.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Do you have the chart of death by is it death
by each type?
Power source?
Yeah. By Energy source. Yeah, and I mean, if anybody watches freaking what's it called, Landman, you know how dangerous oil stuff is.
Oh, it's brutal.
Remember that clip I showed you where the thing just exploded when they were trying to like because of the spark on the wrench?
Yeah.
Look at this. Oh my God. Mortality rate from accidents and air pollution per unit of electricity worldwide by energy source. Brown coal dominating. Deaths per terawatt per hour. I don't even know how to calculate that, but it's a lot with brown coal. Coal also
but
a lot.
You know how dangerous brown coal is. It ignites it by itself.
Oh, does it? I don't know. I'm not too familiar with brown coal. I've actually never even heard that word before. What's the difference between brown coal and coal?
I have no idea.
Do you know? Okay. You started talking for a second like you were a brown and coal connoisseur.
No, but I read about brown coal accidents, but I couldn't tell you the chemical composition between coal and brown coal.
Okay, we'll look at that in a second. But yeah, so you see the deal here. I mean, exponentially more dangerous to work with coal, oil, I guess even biomass, natural gas, hydro compared to nuclear. Nuclear is 0.03%. So it's not even close. Not even close.
Read that wind is more dangerous. Wind.
And I guarantee you those are just like people falling off the freaking wind towers.
Oh man, it happens a lot, Brandon.
I mean, yeah, you put them in the windiest spots in the world.
So you see the first chart and you see the second chart. And then we have the third chart that is running time.
You mean the capacity factor?
Yeah, uptime.
Yes, I'll grab that. So if anybody's wondering out there, like I am, the difference between brown coal and coal is that brown coal is another name for lignite, a type of coal with the low carbon content and high moisture content. Lignite is the lowest grade of coal and is mainly used to generate electricity. All right, so I think we'd have to go down a rabbit hole to understand why that's the most deadly type of energy source, but let's put a pin in that. Energy source by capacity factor. This is my favorite chart out there. Yes, here we go. All right, so capacity factor is the percentage of time where energy can be generated from a source. So as you can see, nuclear 92.5% of the time generates energy. Geothermal 74, natural gas 56, hydropower 41, coal 40, wind 35, and solar 24.9. And which one have we been spending hundreds of billions of dollars on over the last couple of years, especially with the Green New Deal?
And I know a guy that used to peddle that stuff.
Yes, I was slinging solar for a period of time because the deal's just so good that like the government was basically buying solar for the world. Like you go there, you say, hey, you want some solar? And they're like, no, but like, what if I told you that the government's giving you a 35% tax credit with that? So, you're like, it literally pays for itself. I had the whole presentation and like you get to the point where you're basically stupid for not buying it.
Yep.
But those days are coming to an end though. So I got out at the right time. All right, now let's get out of this Germany rabbit hole and go back to the good stuff with what Trump was saying today. So should we talk about Trump and Ukraine at all? I mean, there's so much crazy stuff to talk about. Yeah, we could.
All right.
We can move. Did you see what happened with the Hamas hostages today?
That the ones who were dead?
Yeah. So like they recovered those kids who were like beaten and strangled and stuff. Did you see the Netanyahu video?
I mean, I saw the Netanyahu video and I saw some images from Hamas.
All right, so should I play this quick, or I mean, it's pretty much just Netanyahu talking about I'll play it quick for context for anybody who hasn't seen it. But I don't know.
All right.
I have opinions on this. It's still fresh, but here I'll run it quick on 1.5 speed.
Today is a tragic day. It's a day of boundless sorrow, of indescribable pain. 4-year-old Ariel Bibas, his baby brother, 1-year-old Kfir, and 84-year-old Oded Lifshitz were brutally murdered by Hamas savages. Their bodies returned home to a nation in mourning, a nation that will never forget and never forgive the evil that cut down these beautiful souls. Since that black day on October 7th, when Hamas butchered and burned 1,200 of our families and friends, Israel waited with bated breath, hoping beyond hope that our hostages would survive the Hamas hell. Against all odds, we succeeded to bring many home. Some we rescued, some we tragically couldn't. The Bibas children in particular became the symbol of who we are and who we're fighting against. Here's a photo of the Bibas brothers. These perfect children again were 4 years old and less than 1 year old when the Hamas savages snatched them from their mother's arms. She fought like a lioness to protect her boys. Just imagine their horror. Imagine their confusion. Perfect little children who never hurt a soul. A baby for the love of God. They languished in captivity until Hamas murdered them in cold blood. Who kidnaps a little boy and a baby and murders them? Monsters, that's who.
So that's what happened. They found these kids today. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about this story, but like, I can't help but have my initial thought be that like there's a, by the way, thank you, Luis Aceves. He says, Brandon and Bert, you guys are the best. Nah, you guys are the best.
All right.
Yeah. But I cannot help but have the instinctual thought when I see something like this, that there's a long history of, I don't know, like the side that is claiming that this happened to them being the ones who did this. Like it was a thing in World War I where they like had this media blitz of like the Germans like throwing babies against the wall and like cutting their heads off and doing all this, like throwing them in boiling water. And like it turned out to be fake. Like not obviously not saying this is fake. These kids died, but I'm like I can't help but wonder like this side that doesn't want this war to end. Like now they put this thing in front of the world where like literally my parents, grandparents are like I'm talking to them. They're like, oh my God, can you believe these monsters and Hamas did this? Like we have to wipe them out. And I'm like, wow. Like sure Netanyahu is feeling happy that the entire world feels that way right now.
Man, I don't even want to speculate on this subject. I know nothing about it.
Me neither. I mean, not like saying that that's the case. Like it could totally be the case that Hamas actually did this. You know, that's what we're hearing right now. We'll go with that. But all I'm saying is that there's a like long recorded history of like this strategy being carried out for like a side that wants to kind of have public support to just be ruthless.
I think from both sides, you know, all the images of dead children we've seen over the past 2 years is just horrifying, you know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're going to respond viciously with this, I would imagine.
Which I think is fair enough, you know? Like, if I was running my country, I would respond. Imagine if this happened to Trump.
Well, I mean, it did in some ways because Trump said that if they're not returned by Saturday, which I don't believe they're all returned yet, then, you know, all hell's going to break loose. So I'm expecting some nasty stuff to happen in the Gaza Strip right now. Yeah. Well, and people are going to start talking about that. I mean, I guess because it's not technically his say and he's used to people listening to him. So he's trying not to act rashly. And I've noticed that about him too. He's like, well, he's never been one to like act rashly, like his words. He'll be rash and impulsive and say crazy things with his words. But like, can you think of a time where his actions have ever been that way? And I can't think of a time where, and that's a good thing that his actions have never been impulsive or rash.
I think the tomahawks that was it Jordan?
What? Jordan what?
When he sent a parade of missiles. Syria. It was Syria.
Yeah.
You know about this?
Yep, I know, for the chemical gas attacks.
Yeah.
That didn't kill people though. That wiped out infrastructure mostly.
Yeah, he did wipe out mostly infrastructure, but he said it and he did it.
I don't even remember if he made a threat with that one. I feel like it just happened and that was his response to it. But I think that maybe my assumption would be that we're actually using the CIA for good now, that he's trying to gather intel and like do as precise and vicious of a strike as possible to, you know, see if he could like make a sizable dent in it without, you know, actually hitting people that are like victims and part of the population. I don't know, but I expect some nasty stuff to happen in the Gaza Strip in the next week or two. And like I said, I don't think this conflict's not going anywhere. not
I
going
don't think
anywhere.
it's going anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, and
Hell.
it will just get bigger and nastier.
Yeah. So did you see what Jasmine Crockett said today?
No, I didn't.
All right, good. That's what I like to hear. So she's been getting extra wild. So she said something crazy today. She said something crazy yesterday. I showed the guys what she said yesterday. I'm going to show you the one she said today and then yesterday, because she might be like the new, like, wildest person in Congress, like really like taking the mantle from AOC.
Wow,
So
that's a hard one, Brandon.
I know,
That's
I
a
know.
big claim.
It's not easy to do. So this is from the Breakfast Club.
Been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild, but they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him, so don't act surprised.
So she's cheering for Canada and Mexico right now because they're speaking truth to power.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you play that again? I'm so confused.
Yep, I know. She's a little ghetto.
Been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild, but they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him, so don't act surprised. He's been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild.
There
All right,
you go.
I think I got it. It took 3 playthroughs. And this a congresswoman?
Oh yeah, remember she's the one who said like she gets all ghetto in Congress. She was talking shit to Marjorie Taylor Greene that time. She's like, she said that like that incoherent
the same
thing.
person.
Yeah. And then
Trump says he
yesterday she says this one's really wild, and like especially coming from her, who's like supposed to be like a sister of the people.
The idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times.
Because we were living in different times, just so you didn't miss that. The reason that the stimulus checks happened because we were living in different times.
Was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Boom. You catch that?
Of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
All right. You got that? This is from like an AOC minded lady. We're not in the business of giving out money, and I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Giving out money, and honestly, not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
All right. So what do you think her net worth is?
How many years of Congress? I'm going to get it exactly right.
Okay. So she is 43. Oh, wow. She's older than I thought. Man, black don't crack. All right.
I must say she's not bad looking. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. Except for that attitude. All right. So in 2019, she gets into Congress. So she's been in for going on 5 years now. Yeah. So
2 terms.
Yes.
on
Oh,
her
no,
third term.
Second, actually, I think. So she's been in office since 2021, I guess. So she's new. She's fairly new. But
All right. Net worth, Bud.
No, guess. I'm just looking at her
you're gonna give me
resume.
a Bud.
No, I was just looking at her resume. Go ahead.
I think she must be around 40 to 60 million.
Really? Why do you say that?
Usually after 2 terms, because after 2 terms, the most of the Congress people, they reach 100, and she's from the left, so they take a little bit to get started doing you know what. So I think she must be around 40-ish.
What do you mean doing you know what? Insider trading?
Inside trading.
All right, so this is the member of Congress's net worth. Let's see. So yeah, no, they're not all over 100 mil. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 100 mil. It's not that bad. Oh, that's in 2018. All right, let's see what her net worth is. I saw it the other day. I'm just wondering. Jasmine Crockett. I'm going X because I saw it there the other day. I got to get in Congress ASAP, by the way. Yeesh. Insider trade.
We're losing money by the minute, Brandon.
Yeah, my God. But I don't think there'll ever be an insider trading, so that's the thing. But I'll use it for good. Jasmine Crockett, net worth. Here we go. So developing, Jasmine Crockett has a reported net worth of $9 million despite being paid $174,000. Crockett owns a $2 million townhouse in Texas, a $1.5 million loft in Texas, $1.5 million lakefront cabin in Texas, and her net worth grew substantially last year during the 2024 election, where she became an overnight star for the DNC. There are now reports that Crockett is eyeing a 2028 presidential run. What? Did they not learn anything? And with the massive increase in funds, it appears that there could be some truth to these reports. Crockett looks like an entirely different woman before the DNC made her their newest puppet. We'll be exposing everything about this fraud and plague to the Black community. Like, let me tell you something. Me and you have immensely more in common with Black people than Jasmine and Crockett. You know what I mean? That was to you.
What?
I said me and you have immensely more in common with the Black community than Jasmine Crockett does. But she tries to act like she's their best friend. Do you disagree?
Oh, yeah. No, she's like when you get to Congress, you stop being human. You become a swamp creature. And swamp doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, no, if you're down to get swampy, they'll make you rich. Now that's expected out of people that go into Congress, but former NFL punters, I don't expect this from. But there's this guy who's been raising hell the last few days. This former Vikings punter got arrested from what is it? He was at a city council meeting and gets arrested, and then he's like on CNN saying all this like crazy Nazi stuff. Did you hear about this? Look at this guy.
I saw the news that came across the group.
Former punter.
Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen. So instead, I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks.
Oh, God.
MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement.
Oh.
You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get the heck. Get out.
Look at this clown.
Oh wow.
Look at this freaking clown. Dude, like,
All
who
right,
the hell
Brandon.
are you? Yeah.
No. Come on. Before we talk about this, can you pull up his stats when he played for the NFL?
Yeah, what's this guy's name again? Let's see. Chris Cluey. I mean, the stats on punters are limited, but let's see. Like, I guess you measure his average yards per punt. That's really it.
Yeah. If he's not a top 10 guy, let's skip this.
Dude, he's like a guy. He's like a guy that nobody's ever even heard of. So he played for 7 years. Like he's got like 70 punts per year. Averages 44.4 yards. Not that great. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, he's like probably like the least relevant type of person in the NFL would be doing this.
All right, fuck that guy, Brandon. I will pay attention if he was a winner, but we have so many mid has been from the NFL that have that will talk shit. Like, I don't know. I know it's a big deal.
I mean, it's a big deal because people from the NFL are actually liking Trump now. And then, like, out of all people, you have the punter come out and act like this. So I think it is a big deal. I think it's symbolic of where we're at. That this is the best he could do. This is like, and I have no evidence of this, but I would imagine this guy didn't make a ton of money during his career because he's a punter. And I would imagine that somebody would be willing to pay somebody to do something like this. And it is hilarious if the best they could do is get a punter to do it that nobody's ever heard of.
I think you have an angle there, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear what he's saying to CNN.
Oh, yeah,
Germany went down under Hitler,
All
and
right.
I say that as a political science and history major, as someone who has studied history, and the parallels are very, very clear. This administration is trying to erase trans people. This administration is trying to put obedience over duty to the country. This administration is trying to thrust our country into turmoil in order to reap power for themselves.
Okay, so he sounds like an idiot. I mean, the only thing we're trying to erase trans people from is female sports, and from the bathrooms they don't belong in, and from educating the youth. I think everybody could agree on that. But yeah,
and book clubs.
Yes, that too. But you see what I mean, though, because like how many
Anywhere else, they're welcome.
we see Tyreek Hill, we see like all these NFL players doing the Trump dance and everything, like straight up coming out and saying they like Trump. So I don't know, just my theory. I think that somebody gave this guy some money to do this. Like he's just like a ignorant punter, but it's hilarious to me if the best that these NGOs could do is find some like punter that nobody's ever heard of to go and do this. Like,
I think you're right, Brandon.
Thank you. Because we didn't hear from this guy during the first administration, right? And I bet this guy's not doing too well with money. No. So
if I was on the other side and I lost control of the FBI, but I still had some money left, I will find exactly this guy.
This is the discount USAID guy. They had some scraps left. And they pulled some change out of the couch, and they're like, "Oh, we could get a former punter from the Vikings." So they're like, all right, go ahead.
They didn't have Brady money anymore, Brandon.
No, or Leonardo DiCaprio money. They're like, oh man, like we can't afford Leo right now. We can't afford Ben Stiller right now. Like Chris Cluey, who's that? They're like, well, he was a punter for the Vikings. He was an activist on campus, and they're like, all right, fine. But
Brandon,
yes.
Just an aside, why is Minnesota so woke?
I don't know. Like, how did it become like the Muslim capital of America?
Like, why, if you have all this burly men shoveling snow and watching football, how did it turn so left, Brandon?
That's a fascinating question, and I've wondered that constantly, and nobody's been able to answer it. So, you look at a map of America. All right, so you got North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin. Like, how does this, like, where's that? Like, it's not like North Dakota. It's not like South Dakota. It's not like Wyoming. It's not like Montana. It's not like Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin's, like, I guess is a little bit of a flip state, but Minnesota's straight up hardcore blue. So yeah, you're right. Where did that come from? You know what? Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Because it's too close to Canada?
I was thinking that. Like, did they come there from Canada? Let's see. Net migration rate of Minnesota. All right, so their net migration rate has gone down a lot. Wow. All right, so a lot of people are leaving there. Let's see what the computer says. Why are so many Muslims in Minnesota? In late 20th and early 21st century, civil wars like Bosnia, Herzegovina, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Sudan led to more Muslims arriving in Minnesota as refugees. The Mashhad al-Rahman Bloomington was the first proposed built mosque in Minnesota, opening in 1999. Okay.
But Brandon, that right there is a symptom. It's not a cause.
Right. I'm gonna see. Which do you think it has more Muslims per capita than any other country?
I mean, that would be crazy. But Brandon, they got there because they're super woke.
Muslim population by state. All right, so this is not per capita, but all right, so this is Michigan. Where's Minnesota? Oh, here it is.
On top of Ohio.
Yeah, so it's not that crazy. No, this is Minnesota. So this is not what we need because we need a per capita chart because that's really because of course New York's going to have more of them. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's take a look at this. All right, yeah, this tells a bigger story. All right. So, Illinois, woof. So, Muslim estimate 2020, total 1.3%, and then this the percentage by state. So, Minnesota's at like what's that? 2 to 2.5%. Illinois, oh my God, look at that! I did not know about that.
Oh, it's number one by far. But Brandon, my question is: there's nothing wrong with Muslims. The wrong thing is like how woke Minnesota is. It was the birthplace of the whole summer of love, Brandon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, that summer of love. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I think that's a rabbit hole. I don't know the history of Minnesota. Does anybody in the chat know?
Me neither. But there's something going on in Minnesota because it makes no sense.
Minnesota is for Somalis. Dearborn, Michigan is Muslim capital of America. That's another one. Why is Dearborn, the former home of Ford Motor Company, powerhouse of American industry, something that we could be proud of? How did that become the, I guess, HQ for Muslims in America? With respect, Muslims are more wise when it comes to scriptures than Roman Catholics. Oh, I mean, yeah, they're definitely more dedicated to their study of religion, but on the flip side, they also have no tolerance for other religions. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they believe that anybody else who's another religion should be like exterminated, right?
No, it's not like that, Brandon. Like there's tons of like very wonderful, moderate Muslims all over the world. I grew up in a Muslim nation. So it's not like that. It's not inherently bad people. You know what I mean?
No, not saying they're bad people. I'm saying like their religion doctrine does it not say that other religions cannot be tolerated? I thought that I heard that's what they believe.
Well, the thing is, you have a lot of interpretations of the Quran, and yeah, like it's not.
Stop beating around the bush.
I will beat around the bush because I can't express my whole thinking about this on camera.
I'm just wondering what their what the Quran says. All right. Well,
No,
we'll put a.
I mean,
What?
I think it's called apostasies, basically leaving the religion.
Yeah, I know that if
grants,
you leave the religion, like they want to kill you.
it grants death penalty.
I thought I remembered hearing that just straight up, if you weren't part of their religion, that they don't have tolerance for you. I don't know. I thought I heard that.
Some factions will believe that, but I don't know enough about the topic.
Okay, so let's put a pin in that. Interesting rabbit hole to go down at some point. Why Dearborn became just a hub for Muslims. What happened in Minnesota? And yeah, that's not a region that you would think that would be happening to. Maybe some spillover from Illinois, but
you know, like to close the topic, like as a Roman Catholic, we've been at odds with the Muslim world for 1,000 years. So it's been an ongoing battle, and overall, at least they're a worthy opponent. You have the West and the East, and they're brave fighters, you know. But I think Jesus Christ,
they're willing to
the
blow
Savior, will
themselves
prevail.
up. Yeah, they're willing to blow themselves up in the fight.
But I believe our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ will prevail. So that's what I think.
Yep, and Christians need to have more kids because we're getting outpaced right now. Anyway,
they are.
Yeah, not good. So I saw this come across the board today that the DOJ is investigating Medicare billing practices at UnitedHealth. And before I jump into this, look at what happened to UnitedHealth stock today. Look at that.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow.
Down 12%, or about 15% at its worst upon announcement of this. So what are they hiding? That looks like some nervous selling right there. It's just an investigation, guys. Like, if you didn't have something to hide, why is the stock getting sold off? So civil probe of diagnosis that triggered extra payments to the company's Medicare Advantage plans adds scrutiny to the healthcare giant. Justice Department has launched an investigation to United Healthcare Group Medicare billing practices in recent months. People are familiar with the matter, said. New civil fraud investigation is examining the company's practices for recording diagnoses that trigger extra payments to its Medicare Advantage plans, including at physician groups the insurance giant owns. A series of articles in the Wall Street Journal last year showed that Medicare paid UnitedHealth billions of dollars for questionable diagnoses. Attorneys with the Justice Department as recently as January 31st interviewed medical providers named in the articles. In the Medicare Advantage system, insurers get lumped sum payments from the federal government to oversee enrollees' Medicare benefits. When patients have certain diagnoses, payments go up, creating an incentive to diagnose more diseases. UnitedHealth shares fell by 7% Friday, wiping out more than $30 billion in market value. Oh. The news dragged on rivals too, with number 2 Medicare Advantage insurer Humana down more than 5% of the day. The Medicare billing investigation adds to the scrutiny on UnitedHealth, a $400 billion company that owns the largest U.S. health insurer and a sprawling network of other health industry assets, including top doctors' practices, large pharmacy benefit managers, and data technology operations. So this is what we're talking about when we say that the biggest, dirtiest, probably most corrupt pile of money in the world is the pile of money that goes to Medicare and Medicaid, because there's like, this just reeks of kickbacks. This makes me think of the Luigi Mangione thing. Like, from the start there, I was asking the question, could somebody of the company have wanted this guy gone because he knows too much. I don't know. Like that whole thing is still weird. How do you process this?
Man, I was just remembering, what was her name? The lady from The View. It's
Sunny?
Sunny.
Her husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this whole health insurance business is out of control, Brandon. It's out of control.
1.6
Like I learned the other
trillion.
day that how crazy is that, Brandon? That is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's like a whole COVID stimulus. It's double the size of the military budget.
And I think everything is on the table.
What do you mean?
This is the darkest, dirtiest industry in America right now. And it's the biggest cost to the taxpayers, it's the biggest cost in American lives. And
We're the
I
most
don't know.
expensive and we're the unhealthiest.
Yeah.
Riddle
you
me that.
figure that, Brandon. It's crazy.
Yeah. Right now I'm typing in
Trump.
What's up?
I think Trump should appoint a special counsel to fix this. Like, you know how they have the special committee on the JFK assassination and Doge and everything? Because I think, I don't know, maybe, Kennedy will do something about it. Because one thing is, getting all the trash from our food and drugs. But another thing is the whole finance part of this,
Wow. So, all right, get this. Ready? So I just asked ChatGPT, what % of United Healthcare money comes from Medicaid? It says, well, here, guess what it says.
12?
12?
Yeah.
More like 34.
Oh, wow. That's high, Brandon.
It is high. Let's see. So it keeps changing this thing on me. Based on recent data earnings, about 1/4 of United Health Group's total. Let me share this. So I'm not capping here. Ready? Here we go. Based on recent earnings data, about 1/4 of United Health Group's total revenue is generated from its government segment that covers Medicaid. In their quarterly results, United Healthcare's revenue is split roughly equally among its main segments: commercial, employer and individual, Medicare and retirement, and community and state. The community and state segment, which largely represents Medicaid and similar state-based programs, accounts for roughly 34% of United Healthcare's revenue. Because United Healthcare makes up about 75% of United Health's group overall revenue, because United Healthcare makes up, United Healthcare is a piece of United Health Group. That 34% translates to roughly 25% of the company's total revenue coming from Medicaid. Keep in mind the slight differences in reporting methods can affect blah, blah, blah. All right, so what if we add Medicare to that? Because a lot of people conflate the two things or think they're the same or don't understand the difference between the two.
No,
Medicaid
they're different.
Yep, Medicaid's for poor people, Medicare's for old people. And they both are badly abused. So I read this book one time called The Price We Pay by a guy who's actually in the Trump administration right now. And it's fascinating, like the stuff that they do to get away with this stuff. And it goes into why healthcare is so expensive. The price I should have this guy on.
You should, Brandon. I think you brought up that book.
Here we go. Marty McCary. Marty McCary. So did it give an answer for this? And then I'll put the book up.
So that's why I said 12%, because I saw the hit they took on their market cap. So I was like, okay, you're probably very similar. But if you think about it, and it's 25%-ish, 30%-ish of whatever revenue they make.
55% when it's combined. for Medicare and Medicaid.
Woo, Brandon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That's a big hit. So
I got a
think
feeling there.
I still think their stock price is high if they're going to take a
It's so
50%
high.
hit.
Well, it's not like all that money's going to go away. It's just a matter of like what percent of that 55% is fraud. You know, like obviously there's like a ton of legitimate claims for Medicare and Medicaid, but I don't know, say what 10% of them are fraudulent. Take 10% away from 55%, and you know that's what like a 5% loss to the company right off the bat. And 10% is probably being generous.
But Brandon, with a 10% fraud, the company's over. It's done.
Right, because of the like clawbacks and lawsuits and investigations and
the
whatnot.
Clawbacks, lawsuits, investigation, reputational, brand damage. It's a wrap.
Possibly having their CEO whacked.
Hey, everything's on the table, as I said. We should short them.
Yeah, we should. Like a long put. So this is the book.
Yeah, long put to be righteous.
Let's do that. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
Yeah. So this is the book that is fantastic that talks all about this. Like I said, I'm gonna try to have this guy on. I believe he's part of the Trump administration now. What's Marty McCary up to today? I think he's on Fox News for a while, and I think he's part of the Trump administration. Yeah, Trump picks Dr. Marty McCary. Oh, he's the FDA chief now.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh man, you know this. I've recommended him for the podcast so many times.
Yes, you have.
And now he's the head of the FDA. I'm gonna try and have him on. Let's see if Tony can work his magic. Smooth Tony.
Oh, that would be great, Brandon.
Yeah. All right. So
I mean, what a shame that a guy that understands the system that he does was put under the FDA. But at the same time, there's so much work to be done under the FDA that you want someone like him there.
Exactly. No, I mean, I'm glad that like if the FDA has to exist, I'm glad that somebody like him is in charge of it. Like, man, what a freaking all-star team.
You know what I'm saying? Like the actual money side of health, who's gonna take care of that?
Like, what? Like correcting the fraud and all that?
Yeah, it's a Doge.
That's part of it, but like, even if Doge sees the fraud, it's like medical stuff. Like the medical care is probably the most complex thing when it comes to government policy. Like out of everything, like everybody shit talks Obamacare, but I haven't come across a single person who could explain it. Like it's basically Medicaid, but it's like nobody even tries to explain the problems with the medical system. Like I had to read like 2 or 3 books to like even vaguely understand it. And like that book right there, for example, like if you do read it and maybe read it like once or twice, you start to see the matrix, but it's like the type of thing that's like so complicated. You got to kind of give yourself a refresher every couple months to be able to like speak well on it. And speaking of that, so this is a funny thing. People are complaining about the cost of insulin already. I think this is a totally fake thing, but listen to what this lady says here.
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
this guy.
I'm calling from West Virginia, and which was a red state for Donald Trump. And they have a place called down here Public Debt. And a lot of my neighbors would vote for Trump. They walking around scared, crying, nervous, and they were forever Trumpers. But on a personal note, I'm a diabetic and I'm on Medicare. And when Joe Biden was in there, my insulin was $6 for a 28-day supply. I just went to CVS to get my new supply. It went back up to $80. They said because the American Recovery Act was canceled, so it went from $6 to $80. So I don't know if anybody else out there on Medicare. And,
all right,
yes,
so
ma'am. I'm
you got that.
from West Virginia, and
then
which was
look at this
red
now.
state for Donald Trump, and they have a place.
All right.
I want to have tariffs separately from that on steel, on autos, on semiconductors, and chips. and probably pharmaceuticals.
And you're not worried that any of that's going to go back to the consumer?
It might, but it's ultimately going to be much less expensive. I'll give you an example. The so-called fat drug or fat shot, whatever it's called, Ozempic or Mounjaro. In London, you get it for $88. In New York, you get it for $1,200. You can't even buy it. It's very unfair. The identical package made in the same factory, shipped to different places, but made literally in the same factory. In London, it's $88, and in New York, it's $1,200, and you can't get it. And the reason is because everything's added on to the United States because the United States has been too nice.
So there's that, but
He
the thing I'm
knows.
but the thing I'm disappointed with him and RFK for is nobody's talking about the pharma patents. We've talked about the pharma patents before, right?
We have.
So why do they even not dare to speak about that? Did they not know about it, or are they afraid to speak about it?
I think the right person, because you know how Trump works, Brandon. He listens to everyone and he starts solving. I don't think the right person has approached him because I think he would understand immediately what's going on.
So you don't think he knows about this?
I don't think he knows enough about it.
Wow. All right. So here, I'm going to pull up on my document quick because I have a crazy amount of charts with this thing. So if you guys don't know, the pharmaceutical industry is unlike any other industry in the world where they have a legalized monopoly for at least 20 years, but sometimes up to 80 years, where if they create a product, they get to patent it and then nobody else gets to create it. So giving them market exclusivity where they could, make the price anything they want. Like I used to work at a pharmaceutical company. I did global security for them. And it was mind blowing. They had this one drug. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. They had one drug that was $100,000 per serving, and it was like a rare disease drug that if the person didn't get it, they would die. It was $100,000 per serving. Like this is the thing where you have to take it multiple times per year. And their sole focus, like every bit of energy in the company, was either towards lobbying or creating a new slight variant of the drug that they had market exclusivity for, so they could extend their patent. Because if you make a drug that's like 99% similar to the drug you already have a patent on, you classify it as a new drug and then extend your market exclusivity. So imagine that, billions of dollars all going towards just lobbying and making sure you can maintain a monopoly in the market for a life-saving drug. Like, I don't know about you, but that's one of the most evil dynamics that I've ever come across.
I'm gonna come in hot, Brandon. You ready?
Hit me.
I think anything that will save a life and make human life better, after a certain period of time, it should be open source.
Yeah. Because
we can't have this.
No, it's disgusting.
Like I understand it takes years of training, a career, creativity. I understand, but at the same time, they're using that as a shield to charge. Oof. And they don't let any new players come into the markets. That's the other thing. If we had a free and fair open market when it came to these things, I think we will be singing a whole different tune, Brandon. But it's so overly regulated, everything,
Yeah. No, I mean it's pure evil. Here I'm pulling up this thing right now because I didn't plan on talking about this today, but I made a whole crazy presentation on this. I'm putting it on the doc right
you're
now.
lying, Brandon. You love talking about this.
No, I know. I didn't say I don't love talking about it. I just said I wasn't planning on talking about it, but now I am. So buckle up. This is probably.
I am buckled up.
Oh man, is this the right one? No. Is it? Let's see. So just to like show you the extent of this thing. All right. How do let's see if it'll let me share a Microsoft window. All right, I have to log in quick. Talk about something quick while I log into this.
Talk about something quick.
Yeah, while I log into this.
All
Let's see how
right.
good you are
What
under
else did I
pressure.
see? Oh, very unfortunate, and my heart goes out to her. Biggie Smalls, his mother died today. He was very close to his mother. What else? Talking about healthcare, the trial for Luigi Mangione started. I think the hearings they started today. What over under? What do you think are we gonna get any revelations about this topic?
I mean, under the previous administration, the odds were 0, but today the odds are maybe like 10%. I'm still waiting to get answers on things that we were promised. Oh, we're in there. We are in there. We are in there. Let's go. All right. Here is the goods. All right. So this is a presentation I put together about the craziness of this. So let's go through the crazy stuff. All right. So it is estimated that can you see what I'm looking at right now?
Yeah.
You
have a text document.
Yes. Okay. So pharmaceutical patent abuse, the practice of drug companies using. That's why I'm reading. Practice of drug companies using their patents to prevent production of generic drugs, thus keeping prices high, limiting access to the affordable medication. In return for their innovation, current law provides brand pharmaceutical companies with 12 years of guaranteed market exclusivity for biologics and 20 years for each patent. During the period of patent market exclusivity, brand drugs are priced and sold free from competition. Once competition enters the market, the price of medicine reduces drastically, and patents benefit with increased access to more affordable care. FDA-approved drugs. Experience shows prescription drug costs decline by more than 60% after 12 months of generic drugs entering the market. It's estimated that the generic entry typically leads to, on average, an 80%. Yeah, it's not 80%. An 80% market share loss and 20 to 30% reduction of drug price, with further drug decreases, which additional generic entry in some instances leads to a fall in 90% of the price. All right, so to show you some examples of this. Oh, where the hell is this?
You know what you call that, Brandon? You know what you call that?
What do you call that?
Capitalism.
Yeah, that's capitalism.
That's capitalism. That's how the market freaking works. And when they start meddling with the market, this crazy things happen. If you let the market run its course, we're good. You know, if you start meddling and over-regulating, this is what you get.
Yeah. No, there's nothing capitalistic about this. Or are you saying this is capitalistic?
It's the opposite, Brandon. No, this is the complete opposite. They don't let any new players come in.
Yeah, for all the complaining we do about monopolies, you're not going to call this a freaking monopoly. And this is the shit that Elizabeth Warren is standing up for. So these are some examples of what happens to the price of drugs, or what happens to the revenue of these companies when they lose their patents. So AstraZeneca, from the product Nexium, the patent expires in 2014, and then boom, look at that, gets cut in half.
Yep.
Then there was a Seroquel, patent expires in 2011. Boom, look at that, more than cut in half. And look how irrelevant it becomes by 2021. Like, that is what happens when other competitors are allowed to compete with you. Same thing with
Lipitor. What you're seeing right now, Brandon?
What?
That's the beauty of the market. That's the beauty of the market. It's the most efficient thing.
Yeah. But imagine that there's thousands of companies out there that could create these same things that, can save lives. That could be 90 to 99% cheaper, but they're being blocked right now by law. That's freaking insane. And then they're trying to put it on a politician. It's not on the president. It's on Congress. But Trump could make an executive order about this, or put pressure on Congress. He has the political capital right now to primary anybody out of Congress if he puts enough pressure on them. So look at this. Yeah. The world's top-selling brand drug, Humira, treats arthritis and other chronic conditions. It's been on the market since 2002 with 132 patents blocking competition for up to 39 years. One of the most prescribed cancer treatment drugs, Remlivid, was approved by the FDA in 2005. The patent thicket consists of 96 patents providing potentially up to 40 years without competition. Diabetes patients who rely on insulin treatment, there you go, Lantus, may not see generic alternative for 37 years due to 49 patents issued. What was that first video about we played? Diabetes, insulin. So I don't want to hear a single complaint about the insulin prices and talking about a specific president until people talk about there's no other real problem except for this. Like the fact that you have one company making this thing when thousands of companies can make it. It should probably cost 2 cents for an insulin treatment.
And this drives the prices of care, the prices of everything.
Yeah.
Brandon, it's very late here. I might have to go.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
a
wrapping
shame
up
that
too.
we didn't get to talk about the Apple UK lawsuit.
Oh man.
You hear about it?
I didn't. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh
Or you gotta
man.
go?
No, quickly.
Okay.
You know that iPhones now they have a privacy feature where you can encrypt your IP, all right?
Yeah.
Turns out that in the UK, the people there won't be able to encrypt their information anymore because the government wants full access to it.
Oh my god, it's turning into like V for Vendetta in the UK.
It's crazy. That is some crazy news.
So, all right, so explain that again. So, all right, Apple faces 1.8 billion lawsuit in UK court over App Store law. Lawyers representing the case action say Apple excluded potential rivals from compete. Is this what you're talking about?
When is the article from? January
To
13th.
13th.
Okay, this went through, and they're pulling back.
Oh wait, here maybe this is it. Apple fights back against UK SEC drops Coinbase lawsuit. Blah blah blah. That's a bunch of articles. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Fucking paywall. All right. Apple pulls data protection feature in UK amid government demands. Here we go. So, Apple iCloud backups can no longer be end-to-end encrypted in UK. Apple says other encrypted services such as iMessage unaffected. Experts say move weakened cybersecurity of UK users. Showdown in latest decades-long encryption tussle between tech firms and governments. All right, so Apple's scrapping its most advanced security encryption feature for cloud data in Britain. The company said on Friday an unprecedented response to government's demands for access to user data. That is so creepy. Dude, why is Trump kissing this guy's ass? We still haven't answered that question. Why is Trump saying nice things about Starmer? Starmer's one of the most psychotic politicians in the world.
That also caught me off guard, Brandon. I have no answers for that. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about, but we just previewed it. I think it needs a little bit more research to put it together. And then the other thing that it was very interesting today. Did you see what the Mexican president said?
Oh, I did. I saved a clip from her. Let's see. X.
Well, you find that this is very weird for Apple to do. One of the big selling points to sell more overpriced bricks is their security features. And
well, remember the San Bernardino thing?
That I was gonna bring that up. You know, they went all the way to protect their brand and their security. So what's going on, Brandon? Like Trump is very soft on the UK. Apple bends over backwards. Elon, they all go very, very. They tread very, very carefully in the UK. I think there's a deep dive there.
Oh well, there is something there, and that's gonna be part of my episode that I'm being like really OCD with right now. But my boy that's like the best researcher for this ever, who like wrote the original book on this, says that we revolted against the King of England, but not the Bank of England. Therefore, we never really parted ways with the Bank of England. The Bank of England was like the daddy to the Federal Reserve.
That's a very interesting angle.
Yeah. Is this the clip you're talking about?
Yeah.
De terroristas, de los grupos delincuenciales en México. los llamados cárteles. Es una decisión que toma Estados Unidos. No es una decisión que hayan consultado con nosotros y no es una decisión que ellos toman.
I'm going to read this in case people are just listening. So it has been very clear to us that for us.
Tiene que quedar muy claro que.
Come on. The construction of peace and zero impunity are essential elements in the security policy that we have proposed. Whatever label they use. Evidently, we share the government of the United States. We share the government of the United States to fight against terrorism, against these criminal groups, particularly because of the impact they have on violence of our country. Besides that, evidently, we cooperate so that there is no trafficking, particularly synthetic drugs and
But
illegal
Brandon,
drugs.
this is a super long clip.
All right, so what do you want me to show? What's the meat?
The meat and potato of this clip is she said that if that it already happened, they made Mexican cartels or drug cartels terrorist organizations. So what she said is that they were going to sue the United States for doing that.
Well, that's shocking because I mean, she was the one where like dozens of her political opponents just like were randomly killed and like hanging off bridges and shit when she was running for president. So I'm shocked that she's suing the United States for calling the cartel a terrorist organization.
So this getting heat up, and then add on top of this, El Mayo, who is he's the head of the Sinaloa cartel. You know what Sinaloa cartel, biggest cartel in the world.
I do.
Said that if she doesn't help him get extradited back to Mexico, the relationships between the United States and Mexico will collapse. That he used the word collapse. So this is getting very hot, very hot, and running around the corner, Brandon.
So he's saying that if she does not help him get back into Mexico, then the relationship between the United States and Mexico will collapse.
He will make the He will help to destroy the relationship between, make the relationship between the United States and Mexico collapse.
You think he has the power to do that?
Brandon, he has an army.
Well, I mean, so does the United States.
That'd be a collapse. If they go toe to toe, there's a collapse in the relationships. I don't think he has a chance to win, but I think he does have a chance to disrupt to the point that it breaks the relationship, like the bilateral relationship between the United States and Mexico.
So, well, here's the thing, though. I mean, this is how like gangsters talk, and like, I mean, it's like resembles the way that Trump talks. You know, like they make like a big threat, and like they have a reputation of coming through on it sometimes. So, you know, I guess it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with two people who kind of approach things this way.
El Mayo, he always comes through.
Yeah, and Trump's only been coming through sometimes
I'm not being
lately.
funny.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
So what do you think it looks like if
he?
he?
Funny, this guy.
So what does it look like in the situation where they?
I don't want to.
What?
I don't want to say that. I think it will be very violent.
Well, I heard like a special forces guy like talking about the situation of like family members of congressional people getting kidnapped and stuff by the cartel and stuff like that. You think it gets that crazy?
It could. It definitely could.
What kind of security do you think Tom Homan has?
Sorry to track.
What type of security do you think Tom Homan has?
Probably like the same executive detail.
Like what a congressperson gets, like maybe like,
the thing
one
is
guy.
No. A little bit more. And he works with the local law enforcement, local and federal law enforcement agencies. So maybe he has 4 guys in a car, and then on top of that, you have the federal police, and then on top of that, you have sheriff and local police.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
But,
stuff is on the track. But yeah, what?
Do you hear about the ice truck getting blown up or burnt?
No. Ice truck got
Oh
burnt?
yeah, they burnt down and yeah.
Come on. What do I need to type in to find this?
Probably it's more of a X search. How good is X getting, Brandon?
Better than Google.
1000%. Go like ice truck fire.
Ice truck fire. I wish I had Rob.
You wish you had Rob. I'm looking for it too.
No, I mean, like, I wish I had a Rob. Like a Rob or a Jamie.
Or a Jamie.
Justin, ice van set on fire in Philadelphia. Is this what you're talking about?
That's what it is. Yep.
That looks like just a regular
allegedly,
van, though.
that was political. But allegedly it was as a form of protest.
Interesting.
Allegedly it was
All right.
intentional.
All right. Well, I don't think that this is gonna go down without a response. So we're gonna keep getting a crazy news cycle like we're getting. I don't know. Let's call it for today, and I don't know. I'll be back on tomorrow night. I don't know what you're doing, but all you watching, thank you. We love you guys. Couldn't do this without you. And until next time, if you want to, I had a great conversation with the guy earlier today who reached out to me on Connect. He's gonna be coming on the show this week. He was showing me this crazy research project he's doing. So if any of you guys have crazy stuff like that you really want to talk about, hit me up on Connect and I guess pitch me on it. Like if you have some crazy stuff that you want to expose, we're all about that stuff. So hit me up on Connect if you have something that you want to talk about on the show. Humberto, thank you for joining as always. Love you. And stay safe out there.
Thank you, Shen. Love you too, Brandon.
All right. Love you, chat.
I will stay the safest that I can.
All right. Good. All right. Good night, everybody. Goodbye. You know, we talk about the deep state. We talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean, first,
Here at Mar-a-Lago. I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.